Are you recording already?
So we're in Reno.
Yes.
Walking down to Midtown to have lunch at Rue Bourbon.
Yes.
Which is not in New Orleans.
No. So we're in Reno, like you said.
So it's the middle of February, 2020.
Yep.
Where do you want to be this time next year? Like honestly.
Oh my gosh.
Without me pushing you.
Yeah, I know where you want to be. I want to, shit, I don't know. It's a hard question. I don't want to be tied down to one location. But I do want to have a home base. And I want to be moving around the country.
Can that home base be your sister's house?
No.
Damn it.
Moving around the country, visiting friends and family, checking out all the yarn shops that are in the United States, and maybe doing some teaching and designing patterns. That's what I want to be doing this time next year.
So the not tied down in one place aspect.
Yeah.
That gets tough.
Yeah.
Because then what do you do with that one place when you're not there?
Right. So we'd have to figure out a way to like rent it out or I don't know.
Well, another option would be to actually sell the place that we have and buy a different place, like here in Reno, because it is up and coming and
yeah,
a good location. But we'd have to look for a place that was more favorable to shorter-term Airbnb, and then also find
like the backstory there is that our townhouse, so we own it, we're not allowed to Airbnb for less than 30 days at a time.
Yeah, which is good for a certain segment of the population, but it really limits us on what we can do.
I think that before we dismiss it though, it would be a good idea to just try it and see if we can get people to rent it. Like if you get enough rentals, then don't go through the hassle of selling it, you know?
No, one thing we could do, we could list it for like June, July, and August.
Oh yeah.
And just see if if somebody books it, then we gotta get out.
That's true. We could go live on our boat.
Well, that would be a hard boat to live on.
It would be, but actually it'd be really hard.
Yeah. I'll try to insert a picture right here, but we've got a 1989 Mirage 217 with a cuddy cabin that I can really only lay in for maybe 4 or 5 hours max before my back starts to hurt.
We could get a better mattress though.
Yeah, we could.
Put a topper on it or something.
That would help out. So. To, like we said, Rue Bourbon, which is a cool little place. It's relatively new in Reno here in the Midtown district, and have some lunch, and we might turn this on and keep talking about this.
Yeah, because if there's french fries, I'm gonna talk about them.
They have Cajun fries.
What?
I had them before. They're delicious. It's the only thing I've eaten there.
This is the worst camera work that you're going to see this entire time.
I got this because of you. Stabilization. I paid an extra $300 for visual stabilization.
But I keep going like this, french fries.
Yeah, well. location independent. All the travel by this time next year, which means we're kind of doing some of it next year.
I want to go to Alaska.
Okay, but how do you want to go to Alaska? Because that's kind of a hard question to answer. We can't go in the truck.
No, we can't. We need to have an RV or a trailer of some sort by then. I kind of like feel like I want to do it the simple way, like small and still have a home base with like all of our stuff. Like I don't want to live in the RV. I just want to travel.
But when you're okay, so that's a hard question to answer though, because sure you don't want to quote live in it, but you want to spend 2 months in it.
Right.
That's living.
No.
So you still have to be comfortable, especially when you're 3,000 miles away.
Sure.
You know, you have to have all the things that you're going to need for that 2 months with you, and not only that, but especially in Alaska, even in the summertime, there could be some serious periods of inclement weather, and we would be pretty close to each other.
Well, I just I'm not willing to like give up my stash, but I don't want to take it all with me either, you know?
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But here's the thing too, so I think you would have to plan for 2 things on any trip. And I can't believe this is a peanut butter stout from Lead Dog, brewery here in town. Anyway, I think you have to think of 2 things. It requires more planning, of course. So, and I can't believe we're actually hinging all of our plans here on your yarn and knitting things, but it's your business.
It's an example.
No, it's your business, so you need to think about it, but it's going to require doing significant project management ahead of time, and then planning either one of 2 things. Either taking some of the yarn that you're going to need to do these projects, because let's be honest, it's going to take you weeks to do one project anyway.
We're not going to be knitting, but
you're not going to be like knitting the whole time. We're not going to be driving the whole time, so you can do that. We're just stopping and doing things, and sure, maybe you'll just be knitting, but
that's something to like realize about my job that I'm creating for myself, is that I will be like half my time is going to be spent knitting.
Wow,
so
that is good.
Isn't it good?
It's like dessert. Planning your knitting life there's I think 3 things that you'll have to think about for this particular business. Is first off, what projects do you know you're going to do in that period of time, and can you bring the yarn? Yarn doesn't take up that much space. A month's worth of yarn is 6 to 8 skeins at tops.
Sure, and I also plan to stop at every yarn store that is within a small radius of the vehicle that we're in.
That's the second one.
So
that's the second one.
Yeah, I know I can acquire on the way.
And then the third one is you can have yarn shipped. I plan on sitting in places for long periods of time and just using it as a base of operations. You know? So anything you need shipped from, say, Jimmy Beans, they can send it to you in 2 days. You know, maybe 3 or 4 days to Alaska. So, and if we know where we're going to be, you can have something shipped there too, because chances are on a trip like that, sure, if you've got a van and you can just pull over, that's great. But every once in a while, we're going to need to plan for times to be accessible and in contact. The only problem I have with talking about Alaska, maybe this year, probably not this year, but you know, maybe next year, is I've got to reorganize my work life to where that's possible. Right now, I need pretty much constant access to internet.
Yeah.
Every day. There's a few days where I can go without, and I can probably work my schedule into 4 days a week where I need internet. But I need solid internet.
Well, this is where our Verizon AT&T plan might come in handy. Well,
I'm talking about cell service too.
Oh yeah.
I mean, up there it's really hard to get that service everywhere you're going to be.
Well, it's just something I want to do. Like Alaska has always been a bucket list thing for me, because I don't want to just go on a cruise to Alaska and have like a couple days here and there, and I don't want to even do like a week. I feel like there's so much to see there and so much to do, and also I have like 2 or 3 friends that live there now as well, so we have people up there that we can go and see. So I just really want to like spend some time and be able to really I want a full week at Denali.
Well, and stuff like that we could probably do if we craft it the right way. And the things I need internet for are the things I'm working on right now are very predictable things. And I'm fine having some long days where we do stuff, but I think, to me, the digital nomad lifestyle is all about base camping. And what I mean by that is, you know, we can go to, wow, what is the name of that town that's right on the big peninsula? The Valdez?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's like one of the, I think that's in the southeast corner. If it's not, I mean, a total idiot.
Geography is appalling,
I
so
know.
I'm not even going to guess.
Right.
I know But
what I'm talking about is finding finding base camp areas where we can like set up shop,
Yeah.
and we know that we can come back here for 3 or 4 days, just hang out and be people. You know, maybe even do RV park or something like that, so we have facilities. And then, you know, if that's the 4 days worth of working, then head out for 3 days. Because right now, we can't do anything in Alaska for 3 days. I can't go to Alaska tomorrow,
Right.
right?
Yeah,
So
you need internet.
it's all about base camping as far as that's what I see this as.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
And that's why some of the videos we've been watching, like Gone with the Winds, we've been watching their YouTube channel. They had a smart car. Now I think a smart car, while efficient for towing because it's super light, I'm just not sure. I mean, they seem to have good time, you know. But and speaking as somebody in Nevada that owns a Toyota Tacoma, I'm like, I need 4-wheel drive
Like
and high clearance.
Yeah.
Right. But how often do we use that?
Yeah.
In reality, you know, that's
I
our
mean,
only daily driver right now. And how often do we use that shit?
Well, on the weekends, in the summer, when it snows,
When it snows, we don't need high clearance 4-wheel drive.
we need 4-wheel drive.
4-wheel drive is handy,
Yeah.
yeah, but we don't need high clearance Toyota Tacoma.
I love our Tacoma.
We could get a Subaru. That's all-wheel drive,
We could. That's true.
you know?
Subaru would be a good
It'd
one.
be easier to tow too.
Yeah.
You know, that truck is
smaller.
heavy. Truck is not towable. In fact, it even says in the Toyota's manual that you can't tow it behind a vehicle.
Really?
Certain vehicles, it'll ruin the driveline. You have to remove the driveline to tow it. So you can't just put it in neutral and tow it. It'll actually ruin it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a 4-wheel drive thing or if that's a certain vehicles thing. But I know you've got to remove the driveline on some vehicles to do that. But vehicles like like a Mini Cooper or a smart car, I'm pretty sure you just put it in neutral and you go. You know, so you don't have to do anything special to it, because all the videos I've seen where people do that, they literally just unhook and then use their vehicle. Here comes our food. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh my god.
Oh, I'm so excited.
That is the best thing she's ever
That
seen in her
really
life.
is.
And some ketchup. Thank you. All right. So this is Rachel's food right here. It's Cajun fries with Cajun shrimp on top of it, I think,
And coleslaw.
and coleslaw. I don't think you've ever had a better meal.
I'm like, just go away so I can eat, please.
Yeah. And this is basically my basic Doc and Boo burger. All right, lunch is over. Beer's almost gone.
Yep.
So what did we decide for the rest of our lives? Also, quick note, I just bought this camera, and it's the GoPro Hero 8 Black, and the media mod that allows for a directional mic and the addition of extra microphones. Actually, I could plug a microphone, an external, into the USB-C slot, but there's nowhere to attach it unless you just glue it to the top or tape it to the top, which I'm not going to do, or get another mounting thing, which I also not going to do. So I'm just going to wait for the media mod. So you're just going to have to deal with GoPro Hero 8 audio. Anyway, so
What are we doing for the rest of our lives?
what are we doing for the rest of our lives? Well, let's talk about what we're doing for the next month and a half. So,
Oh, true.
One thing
do
that's
have
cool-
to travel, which is what we want to do. We want to be
Yeah.
traveling again.
and it's flexible. Well, it's not flexible. It's very inflexible travel, but
Yes.
we're doing it together,
Yes.
which is cool, because otherwise I wouldn't see you for a
Yeah.
month.
So like I'm leaving my job of 8 years, which has kept me in Reno, like except for vacations. I've been in Reno for 8 years. So
Yeah.
this is the first time we've been able to just like take off and travel like we used to do when we were traveling archaeologists. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, there's two things you can't go on between now and when that happens, and that's Monday I've got to go to New Orleans for a week to work with a client, part of my job, which is something we'll also have to factor in, because this job that I'm currently doing, I will occasionally, more occasionally actually, have to go actually fly to the clients, which means if we're out and about in something, then I'm going to have to leave you there and fly there. Or if I know far enough in advance and it's not that far away, we can actually just drive there and then
Yeah.
expense some of that trip as well,
That's true.
because it's taking the trip to get there.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Make that work.
But if we're in Alaska and I have to go to Cleveland,
That's
probably not gonna work. Yeah.
Yeah.
so, and sometimes because of the nature of this job, these trips come up with only about 3 or 4 weeks of notice. Sometimes they come up with about a week or two of notice, coming up here soon. So that might not work, but that's something we have to plan for. Usually I won't have to go out for more than a few days. This is kind of an exception next week, where I'm gone Monday through Friday. And then there's a podcast conference I'm going to called Podfest in Orlando in the first weekend of March, or whatever those days are. But then after that, I come back home for a day, and I haven't told you this yet.
Oh.
But Tuesday morning that week, we're going to drive down to Ridgecrest, California.
Oh, I saw it on the calendar.
Yeah, because we're doing this archaeology project that I got, because I'm also an archaeologist, and so is she. But I own a company, and I won this small project on with an agency down there, and I figure since we're going to Los Angeles for another archaeology conference, the Society for California Archaeology, we were planning on leaving a day early anyway and going down Highway 395. So since we're going to do that, and 6 hours away is Ridgecrest, why not make it for this? So we'll head down to Ridgecrest on that Tuesday, check out the project areas because they're accessible to us, maybe see what that looks like, maybe stay there, because the next day we don't have to be in Los Angeles until like 3 p.m. to check into our Airbnb, so we'll have plenty of time to do other stuff and check that out. Or maybe we can check out that little mining town. I haven't been there in a long time. The little one that's like off the highway. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway.
Is it like a ghost town, or?
There's actually people that live there, but it's actually a ghost town too.
Oh,
but there's people that live there, so it's weird. But anyway, so we'll do that, and then when we come back from that conference, it's going to be hopefully not too late on a Sunday, even though it's like a 9-hour drive from LA. We're gonna boogie back, hopefully leave early on Sunday morning, boogie back, because I have a thought on that too. That project starts in Ridgecrest, California, which is only a few hours from Los Angeles where we're gonna be. And it starts in Ridgecrest. It starts that week. We need as much time as possible, and I'm kind of thinking in the interest of time, my first thought was we go all the way back to Reno, we refresh our gear, we come back down to Ridgecrest, but I've also been thinking about renting an RV, and if we rent an RV, the cheapest way to do that would be down in the Los Angeles area, just because of mileage, right? Because they tack on the mileage. Why rent it in Reno or Sacramento and put on an extra 1,000 miles at an extra $200 or $300?
Yeah.
When we can rent for $60 a day and put on hardly no mileage at all.
Yeah.
And be more comfortable, because there's an RV park where we can stay.
Yeah.
It's either that or we stay in a tent for 10 days, which we're not opposed to, but from a walking in the desert 10 miles a day standpoint, I'm kind of not looking forward to that.
I would like to have a shower.
Yeah. So here's the thing. What if we just bring all our field gear to Los Angeles and we just don't go to Reno?
Yeah.
I'll have to work out some stuff with some clients here, but we just don't go to Reno. That way we can start the project on Monday morning. Have the rest of the crew meet us out there. Start the project on Monday morning.
Yeah, because they're coming from somewhere in California. They're much closer than we are, right?
Well, they're coming from all over the place.
Oh, they are?
One person's coming from the Santa Barbara area, and I don't know where the other person's coming from yet.
Oh, okay.
It could be somebody coming from Reno. So anyway,
we're motivated to finish this project as quickly as possible, though,
because the last day this project is scheduled to end, and archaeology is a little fickle. It can take longer than you expect. It can take shorter than you expect.
Yeah, like because you got to record sites and you got to do it the right way. So it sort of takes what it takes, but we know, or we don't expect to find too many sites, hopefully, and we'll be able to get through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, we've got about 10 days dedicated to this, and 10 days straight with no breaks. And at 4 people on the crew, that's 30 acres a day at 1,200 acres, and that includes recording archaeological sites. And
say that in miles. Can you
I don't know that in miles.
Really?
Because it just depends.
Because it's hard to understand what an acre means.
I think 30 acres a day is probably only going to be about 4 or 5 miles of actual walking.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty low, because we were walking 80 to 100 acres a day in certain areas of that project 5 years ago when I did this in the same area, and that's 10, 12 miles a day.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's not too bad then. As long as the site volume isn't too high, that should be totally doable.
Well, we'll have to see too, because the mileage really depends on, and I haven't looked at the document yet, the interval spacing. So it's not 30 meters, which is relatively standard in archaeology. It might be 15. It just depends. In some areas of this agency's area, it was 15 meters. If it's 15 meters, then 30 acres is actually going to be way fewer. Well, it's going to be the same linear miles, but it's going to be, well, no, it'll be more miles to cover 30 acres, right? Because we're closer.
Because you're closer together.
So anyway, I got to look at that. I think we were doing 20 last year, 20 to 25, so we'll just have to see what the requirements are here. Anyway, so we've got that, and then the last day that this is scheduled to be going, assuming we're finished and we have to leave either way, which means her and I might be doing some extra evening work just to get some stuff done. But the day after that, we're going to Cancun, Mexico. So we fly out.
We scheduled that trip before we knew about this fieldwork opportunity. So.
And this fieldwork has to be pressed into this short time frame just because the agency needs it done quick. Because it's building on $2 billion for the other work they're doing, and they can't do the other work until this work is done. So so we're doing that, and then we go to Cancun, and then we come back, and then so that's our travel for there. And then I have to go to, and I'm just thinking this on the fly, I have to go to Austin, Texas on the 22nd or something of April. I keep thinking maybe we could...
Trip.
Yeah, but then I've got more plane tickets I've got to cancel.
Oh.
We've already canceled one set of plane tickets because she can go with me now.
Yeah.
And now I've got another set I'd have to cancel.
You do get credit for it though, right?
You lose $200 every time.
Oh, you lose $200.
Yeah, you lose $200 when you cancel the ticket from American.
Road trip by myself.
I mean, you can drive the truck down there.
That's a terrible idea.
It's a very bad idea.
It's a really bad idea.
So, but who knows? I have been wanting to go up and see my grandma. Maybe we'll go up for my birthday.
Yeah.
We'll go up and see her in Washington State, spend a week or two doing that, because I've got other family over on the east side of the state, and I've got family down in Oregon, and we could just make a moseying trip doing that for 2 or 3 weeks, because there's plenty of internet.
Pacific Northwest tour.
Yeah, and then come back down. I'll fly to Dallas, or fly to Austin for that conference, do the conference, and then fly, and then we'll figure out what we're going to do. So, and then we might be...
There is one weekend in April that I have to be in Reno. I don't remember which one it is, but...
Oh, that's great.
Sorry.
And then we'll, then we might be, we're still up in the air on this, but we might be going to, Denmark at the end of May.
I'm not willing to talk about that out loud yet.
Oh, well.
I mean, I am with just you, but
right.
not if anybody else.
Well, then maybe I could just disclose something on the video right now.
No, you can't disclose anything.
Yeah. So I bought us a...
disclaimer, nothing that he said is about to say is actual reality.
It actually is. So
No.
one of our friends that we're going out there to see, she's always very frugal and always looking for different things. And she won a 3-day ferry/cruise ride from Copenhagen, leaving pretty much any time between Sunday and Thursday of the week. It's basically, it's not like, and you get a cabin, but it's basically like riding Amtrak on the water. And you go from Copenhagen overnight, and the next morning you end up in Oslo, Norway. You get the whole day in Oslo, and then overnight you come back to Copenhagen. And $40 is what it's going to cost us.
What?
I told her to book it. I said worst case scenario, we're out $40.
You told her to book it for us?
So right now we have a cruise from Copenhagen to
God.
Oslo and back starting on the 7th of June. I gotta send her pictures of our passport. It's actually only $11 because we get $29 back. The $11 is taxes. They want you to like have a good faith booking for the cabin, and that's it. So it's actually an $11 thing to go to Oslo, Norway from Copenhagen in a cabin, not like sleeping on a bench. Like I said, she said it's like no frills, you know, like there's food, but it's not included, of course. And you're basically on there overnight. It leaves at like 6 o'clock in the evening. So, or 4:30 or something like that. So you only have well, in June, you'll have about 6 hours worth of daylight left at that time. Because it's not going to get dark till like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then, and it might not even get dark.
When did that come about?
This last week.
You just didn't tell me?
No. Yeah. That's what she brought me into the office for on Thursday. Yeah, you weren't supposed to be there.
I thought it was some like secret CAB thing.
That's why I had to be there at 5, and you ruined everything.
Well, sorry.
Yeah.
Not sorry.
So we'll see. We want to try to extend that Denmark trip into maybe a week before just to see what we can do. But we've been trying to do some kind of cruise because it's easy. But hell, I'm kind of just down for getting to Copenhagen and maybe just renting a car.
Yeah.
You know, staying in some Airbnbs. I don't think it'll cost us that much.
Yeah.
We can get over there for about $1,000 total if we do it right. And then probably cost about $1,000 for that week just to live. And then that little cruise and we come home.
Yeah.
So that'd be a good time. Anyway, those are the plans. We'll, I think the reason I wanted to do this YouTube channel is just we do a lot of fun stuff, and just looking back through our pictures and looking back through all the things that we've done, we've never really documented it all, and I think people can learn from it and get inspired. So
That's true.
yeah.
Well, we've been very sedentary, I guess, for the last 8 years.
Ish.
And now it's about to...
Have we? We have not. We've been to Italy. We've been to...
True, but they've been in small bursts.
Yeah,
so
like most people.
There hasn't been like large chunks of travel, but
Yeah.
I think we're kind of gearing up for it.
Yeah.
Hitting the road.
Right. All right. There's the plan.
Yep.
I don't know what's going to happen over the summer.
Everything we just said may or may not happen.
Well, not everything, because everything's going to happen in the next month and a half. That's locked in.
Some of those will, yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
But this time...
And we will hit every yarn shop on the way. Prepare for yarn shop tours.
Wow.
Walk sign is on across Virginia. Walk sign is on across Virginia. Like, get some enthusiasm, dude.